My parents got here in '70, although we lived in the Bronx for a little while. We moved to Brooklyn, did about 4 or 5 years in St. Louis. And that time, that's when I really got into hip hop. We would come back to New York and get all the Red Alert tapes and take them back to this Midwest town and kind of introduce New York hip hop to a lot of people out there.
You're from the Bronx or from New York City?
Oh, first and foremost, hi everybody. My name is Rhinoceros Funk. A speck of dust on this flying ball through this universe. Originally, I'm from Washington Heights. My father used to own a grocery store in the Bronx. So when Criminal Minded came out, when I was about 8 years old, my dad would take me to the store with him, and I would hear that shit, like people were playing that shit. I remember getting a tape of it, late 80s, early 90s, and listening to the underground. It was constantly just banging out tapes, and then put them in the Walkman, had my book bag, had my tapes, and the entire day just floating through my tapes.
When it comes to hip-hop, I take it very serious because I'm from the generation where my father played it in the car. When my father was playing, it was early 90s, and when it comes to what I was personally seeking out, it was, late 90s, early 2000s. You gotta have those foundation guys, Jay, Nas, Biggie, but then also, did Juvenile, also did, Goody Mob, Scarface, cats from different regions that I also thought were lyrical as well.
I left Washington Heights in 96. I went up to SUNY Albany. They had a radio station there. About like 97, I started hanging out with this dude who had a show there on Sundays where he would play some crazy side-to-sides, right? So he was like, yo, man, you should come up with me to my radio show. And I was like, oh, that's fucking fantastic. Of course I'll go up with you. And eventually I signed up. I won a show for the following semester. I started a show with two buddies of mine where we called it the Full Stamp Radio Show. We started that like fall of 98. I stayed in Albany. I continued to take on the show and I called it Guerilla Grooves Radio.
So the radio DJ aspect was really something that I really hold dear to my heart. Fast forward to Guerilla Grooves, radio shows are everywhere because the internet allows you that platform. You can do an internet podcast and have a radio show and be heard. Once we started figuring that out and watching other people do shows, we figured we can use our resources here at the studio for the radio show. With Rhino as a host, the whole shit just came together. And I think the last part of the puzzle that I didn't really see coming was my nephew who was digging for all this new music. Keeps the show really fresh. I think all those components, all that kind of came together in a real kind of perfect equation.
It goes like this. I hear an artist, I like the song, I download the song. After I download the song, I follow them on SoundCloud. So the next time that artist releases a song, I'm gonna see that song on my SoundCloud scroll. After 2 years of doing this, it's gotten to the point where I have a list of artists to go through on SoundCloud. Along with artists sending me stuff personally, along with me just going out on blogs and looking for stuff and just being a true fan of the culture and going out there and getting albums and listening to them. That's how it's done, man.
We're reaching a wider audience with new music. Kind of same thing I was doing when I was a kid, giving kids these mixtapes of music they've never heard before. And we're kind of doing the same thing with Guerilla Grooves.